Today I'm going to be talking about a subject that a lot of people don't like to talk about, and if you're a foreman or running a job, at some point it'll come up, and that's sexual harassment. In the construction trade, a lot of times you'll have guys teasing other guys, saying things and stuff, which you may think is not sexual harassment, but it is. Well, I'm going to tell you about how my wife handled sexual harassment on the job. Got to give you a little background for her. She, back in I think about 1980, she started in Taekwondo, maybe 79. Anyway, she started Taekwondo. She's a black belt, actually second degree black belt in Taekwondo. She's won the national championship in fighting twice. She went 3.5 years without ever losing. She won the Olympic trials. So she's a tough cookie. She could do 50 push-ups. And I'm not talking women's push-ups, I'm talking push-ups. There's only one type of push-up. She could do 3 pull-ups, so she's pretty tough. So she gets into the plumbing trade and becomes a plumber's apprentice in her local union. She is, I think, the second woman plumber in their union. She's an apprentice, she's out on the job, and another thing about her, at the time she had really long hair, down past her waist. And so she put it in a ponytail, and a lot of times tuck it in her Carhartt, sometimes it would be hanging down her back. And this one guy was teasing her a lot, and he come up and pull on her ponytail. And I don't know, country guys will understand this, but if you know about pulling on the tail of a mule, well, that's the same as pulling on my wife's ponytail. So she told him, don't ever do that. And of course, he did it again. And before he got his hand off her hair, she had kicked him, hit him in the solar plexus, kind of knocked the wind out of him a little bit. And of course, he said, what'd you do that for? I told you, don't be messing with my hair. So the word got around, and on that particular job, and with that company, and in their little local, don't mess with Nancy. So fast forward 20 years later, maybe 25. I have a woman working for me, she's an electrician, and we got to talking about life in construction, and especially for her being a woman in construction, I was curious how she had it compared to like how my wife had it. And she told me the story. She said, yeah, I heard this story, and it was this woman. And she didn't know what trade or something, and some guy had put his hands on her, and she proceeded to beat him up, put him in the hospital. And when he got out of the hospital, he was so embarrassed, he had to move to another state and work there. And yeah, I thought that was hilarious because that was my wife. And so this woman went on to say that story has made her life and a lot of women's lives in our area, San Francisco Bay Area, a lot easier because no one knew who the woman was. They only knew it was a woman construction worker. So it could be any of them. So it kept the honest guys honest. So she appreciated that. So I came home and I told my wife that story, which gladdened her heart, mainly because she feels that she hasn't done enough for people. And trust me, she's done more in her life than I ever hoped to do in mine. But I asked her if she ever heard that, and she said, yeah, I've heard that story, about putting a guy in a hospital and all that stuff. And I said, did you correct him? And she said, no. It's nice having that reputation, and that way you don't have to deal with those things. So one way of doing it, not promoting violence, but hey, be careful what you get into. Now I'm going to relay my story, which is maybe a little politically incorrect, kind of opposite of my wife's experience. But this happened maybe 13 years ago. I was 39 years old. My running partner, he was 51. We've both been running a lot. We were running at Rancho San Antonio, the Upper Wildcat Canyon Loop, for the 2 people that know where that is. But we were running about 30 miles a week and in great shape. I was under 175 pounds. My friend was under 155. We both had 6-pack abs at the time. It was a warm day, so we're running without shirts on. We're coming down this little hill, and I need to mention too, I've got no hair on my chest and he looks like a bear. So we're coming down this little hill and there's 3 women, they're running up the hill. And we pass them, you know, we're running downhill, feeling good, looking like a couple of Greek gods, hair blowing in the wind, back when we had hair. And when we pass these women, we say hi and, you know, get to the bottom of the hill. And just when we get to the bottom of the hill, we hear these wolf whistles. And we turn and look back up the hill. And the women are up there giving us wolf whistles and going, woo-hoo, baby, you know, and stuff. And you know, I looked at him, he looked at me, and we both smiled. And all the way back, the remainder 1.5 miles, it's like our feet didn't even touch the ground. We were so pumped. And to this day, I have no idea how much my wife paid those women